And welcome back to LinkedIn Logs, the Jobs Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the Jobs Podcast, as I previously mentioned, for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Here we are. We're back. This is episode 92. You don't have to get up. I have fans all over the place who believe they have to get up. We are 1 week removed from that interview that I had. What's going on with my voice? This is not, if this is your first episode, this is not normally how I sound. Well, I mean, it's a rough general estimate, but I don't know what's going on. I did just have a sip of water, but it should not have this kind of effect. It feels strange to talk at this point in time. Anyway, we are 1 week removed from an interview I had with a television organization. There's still no news. I was told in September, every single interview I had with this place, and I'm not holding them accountable. It's not me being angry or anything, or being disappointed. But I did ask multiple times, hey, when are you looking to fill the position? When are you looking to fill the position? Oh, mid-October. Oh, definitely late October. It's November 19th. Anyway, all I know is it's between me and one other person. Very selfishly, I hope it's me. I fit the bill for everything. I'm going to move this microphone back a little bit so I don't have to lean forward. But I fit the bill for everything, so hopefully they go, this is the guy. He's the person we're going to hire. Other than that, I've got nothing else going on. In fact, this morning, while listening to, on SiriusXM, they've added the letter extra channels. And some of them are like supermarket, grocery store. So songs you'd hear in a supermarket. Taylor Swift did play "You Belong with Me," elevator songs, and then the strength, and that makes sense. You would hear soft pop or soft rock or whatever in a supermarket, and then in an elevator you would hear Muzak, jazz-ish style stuff like that. I decided to listen to Gas Station because I just couldn't believe what I would hear on there. The first song was Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy by Big and Rich. So I didn't expect that. And I forgot what the second song was, but it wasn't that. Anyway, and then after that I turned on the supermarket one, which is the one I was aiming for. But I saw that they also have a pizza place one, and I just went, who? What is pizza place? What is pizza place music? What else has been going on jobs-wise? Because this isn't the constitutional. Listen, if I just put out an interview with a comedian, if you want to see my interview skills, I just put out an interview with a comedian named Mike Kaplan. And that'll hold on. It is coming out as of the recording of today. It is coming out in 56 minutes, and there's a video coming out. So go watch that. YouTube.com/C+Comedy. You'll listen to it under the Constitutionals, which is the entertainment business podcast. I'll get into that later. Anyway, let's get on with this first story. This comes from the Hollywood Reporter, written by Winston Cho. Warner Bros. Discovery reworks David Zaslav's compensation package amid sales chatter. We know that Warner Brothers Discovery is going up for sale, and I believe today's the 19th. It's either tomorrow, the 20th, or the 21st, where everybody who wants to put in a bid has to put in their bid. The makings of this are right now Netflix, Paramount, and Comcast. Maybe I needed to clear my throat. Maybe that's what it was. And then, of course, the other part of the thing is there's a split between there's a split of Warner Brothers happening, much like Versant and NBC Universal slash Comcast. Just choose one. If I say NBC Universal, it should just, everybody should know it's Comcast. If you don't know about that split, that was MSNBC, CNBC, I guess. But now it's MS Now, and that launched last Saturday. I was around for that. Gonna do it. I'm not doing anything. And Bravo and all the other cable networks were split from like NBC and NBC Sports, I guess. I don't know the other facts about that. But for Warner Brothers, they're splitting again, just like Versant and NBC Universal. They're splitting up the stuff that does not make money. So that includes, or that does not make a lot of money. So that includes the studios and HBO Max. That is going in under Warner Brothers. And then everything else will be spun off, including the cable networks and whatever other junk that they own. Which I assume to be, I don't know where WB Games would go, but after putting out Suicide Squad, you can go wherever it needs to go. Just put out more Arkham games in that world. Superman Arkham. I mean, well, an Arkham game like Superman. An Arkham game with Flash. The rest. There was that Wonder Woman game that they were going to put out that had the same systems as this is getting way too niche, as the Shadow of Mordor series. But then they stopped. They deleted it. I assume they deleted it. Where does the music go? I don't know. But I assume the music in the games are at least making some type of money. Anyway, but then there's a Hogwarts Legacy game, which is really good. I'm playing through it on Xbox right now. I'm enjoying it. Amid a split of Warner Bros. Discovery and chatter it's fielding bids from would-be buyers, David Zaslav's pay package has been altered to ensure his stock options vest regardless of what happens to the company. Remember, he is getting paid like $50 million in stock options, something along those lines. He agreed, along with WBD, to amend his stock option, originally entered in June during a period the company was focused on spinning off the company's TV networks into a new separate entity, according to a Thursday Securities Exchange and Commission filing. This is from last week. The move is intended to align the exec's incentives with shareholder interests during the ongoing strategic review. So what it seems like here is, again, he's vesting his worth, or I guess his monetary compensation, with the idea that if they get the most money possible for Warner Brothers Discovery, either split or whole, then he will be able to get, more from his stocks or exactly the same. The agreement clarifies that if the company pursues something called a reverse spinoff by retaining Warner Brothers and spinning off Discovery Global, which is, would separate TLC and Food Network from Cartoon Network and Warner Brothers Studios. As long as it's completed before the end of 2026, it will be treated in the same manner as the originally planned separation for the purposes of Zaslav's payout. To me, this seems like it feels like if they do a reverse spinoff, which I guess could work. I don't know what would happen with Discovery on that end, but it seems to me that Discovery shouldn't have bought Warner in the first place. Or if anything, keep them together. You're already combined. And don't look like, what was it, Singular and AT&T? Okay. It also widens the scope of qualifying events in a way that allows his stock options to vest if there's a change in control of Warner Bros. Discovery, though it excludes any sale of Discovery Global. So he would have until at least 2030 rather than end of 2027. That's his term. as would have been the case had the separation been completed. Huh. Interesting. Now, continuing off of that, oh, good Lord, I just turned off the video. That's interesting. I'm not going to do any editing. That's too much work. This comes from the Wall Street Journal and is written by Joe Flint and Lauren Thomas. Paramount, Comcast, Netflix prepare bids for Warner as deadline approaches. This is from about 6 days ago. I have to go to... Hold on, I have to do something. The bids end tomorrow, November 20th, and we will get information as to who is exactly interested. Obviously, it's those three, but there's also other vested interests. I believe it was announced yesterday or 2 days ago that David Ellison from Paramount Skydance, has most recently pulled in a pool of Saudi buyers along with him for something like $73 billion. Don't quote me on that. David Ellison, Saudi. And he was there last night at the current American regime's dinner with the Saudi prince. Okay. I'm looking at some information. It was $71 billion. But apparently Paramount denied that. So who knows if that's true? $71 billion. But that was the story going around, was that Ellison was able to talk to three Saudi, not regimes, but three Saudi investors and try to pull together that money, which would be a crazy amount of money for Warner Brothers alone. I don't even... But Netflix has, I think, something like $9 billion on hand in order to buy companies like this, or for spending. So I don't know. I don't even know if that's true. Comcast and Netflix are primarily interested in Warner Brothers movie and television studios and the HBO Max streaming holdings, which include CNN, TNT, and Discovery Channel, people close to those companies said. Warner Discovery, meanwhile, is moving forward with plans to separate its assets into two companies, one to house its streaming, the other to house cable networks, as I previously mentioned. For Netflix, what would Netflix get out of all of this? On top of the movies and TV shows that it's going to get, what would happen to HBO Max? Now, Netflix is already just a giant property. And compared to other streaming platforms, let's just forget quality, because there's not a lot of quality on Netflix. And again, Netflix, listen, if you're listening, baby, Ted, I promise you, I will make the best TV shows and movies for you. But I've said it multiple times across multiple different podcasts. Netflix programming is a lot like throwing paint at the wall. Some sticks, some falls on the floor, some of it's still in your hand. It just, you barely have the wall painted when you just throw a bunch of junk out there. I don't like this shirt. If I got it from TJ Maxx, probably. It fits well in the chest, but for some reason the arms are the tightest part. They're just so tight. So if you see me move my arms a lot, I'm just trying to get blood flowing. And really, if Netflix was able to get the shows and movies, it could do a couple of things. A lot of Netflix projects have not left the platform, save for the Nickelodeon stuff, which was like co-produced. I think, if you can go see like the Loud House movie, No Time to Spy. Do not ask me why I know what that name of that movie is. The second Loud House movie. I do not understand why I know the name. I've seen at most 11 minutes of Loud House, but I cannot tell you why I know what that is. Why I know what the second movie's name is. I know at least the first two Loud House movies are on there. The Casa Grandes movie. Again, I don't know the Loud House. Which is in co-production with Nickelodeon, the same way that the Hey Arnold movie, Rocko's Modern Life, not reboot, but movie, I guess, the Invader Zim movie, those were all done in conjunction with Nickelodeon, which is why I believe the Hey Arnold movie is on Paramount, and I don't know where the other two are, and that makes sense. And then there's also not like a lot of stuff is not taken off in the same way that on HBO Max, you can't get all of Cartoon Network. You can't get even like some of the recent stuff. You can't get some of the recent Cartoon Network shows or Adult Swim shows on Paramount Plus. You can't get, all of the shows that they are supposed to be offering there. It's a fascinating thing to see and to dream about. And of the three hottest bidders, I would probably want Netflix to be the one to take over the mantle of the Warner. I think about it like this. This is something I came up with yesterday. When Amazon purchased MGM, they saved MGM from going under. But people were mad, and rightly so, that this streaming shopping behemoth, internet web behemoth, would ruin the legacy of MGM. Now, MGM is used to be, and I've read a couple of books about movies and the film industry and things like that. But the MGM in recent years has not put out, the greatest movies of all time. They've done. They did the RoboCop series, MGM from. They're still a part of the Spaceballs co-productions. They're part of the Carrie co-production. Was Carrie from 1974? Oh my God, it was from 1974. That's when the book came out. Legally Blonde, Barbershop, The Hobbit, G.I. Joe, the current Addams Family movies or worlds. I don't know. So if Warner can be saved by Netflix, and I don't want to put saved because that's not necessarily how it's going to go. The world is not going to lose the storied institution that is Warner Brothers Warner Brothers, and their Warner sister died. But I would rather it go to Netflix than it go into the hands of Paramount Skydance, which would most assuredly ruin it. Also, one of the worst things that Ellison has said about this situation is, or it's been the sources close to Ellison have said, they want to sunset the HBO Max app and put everything on Paramount Plus. That app is deplorable. I dislike it so much. And then on the other end, Comcast, they don't have the money for this. And Comcast has said, the leaders of Comcast, NBC Universal have said that it would, if Netflix bought Warner, it would make that a monopoly that no one could compete with. Here's the news, buddy. None of you can compete with Netflix, with the exception of Disney. So and in third place after that is probably Warner Brothers. So we're at a point where this company needs to be, for the third time in 20 some odd years, needs to be saved. Not saved is not the one I want. Paramount's latest offer was $23.50 per share, representing a premium of nearly 9% of the stock's price before the whatever. Comcast, parent of NBC Universal, has seen its stock sag over the past 5 years, which some skeptical of its play. Okay, so that needs to be edited, buddy. A person said the company a person close to Comcast said the company had $38 billion in earnings, excluding certain items. So it looks like it's strong. And then Netflix has a market cap of nearly $490 billion. So they could obviously buy this at some point if they wanted to. Now, bouncing off of that, this comes from The Wrap, and it's written by Lucas Manfredi and Kayla Cobb. Paramount says 600 employees took voluntary severance over return to office push. I believe early next year, they instituted a 5-day-a-week mandate, and now employees in New York and Los Angeles that are vice presidents or below have to return to the office. Yes, I was correct, January 2026. And Paramount is doing this mostly to, quote, create a more connected, agile organization. They just let go of 2,000 people. More people are going to get let go at some point. And now this roughly 1,000 employees at a later date will be let go. And now 600 people have just said, hey, I don't want to go back to the office. The pandemic was really a life-changing event for a lot of people. I don't have to go over how it could have been life-changing. You know all the ways, so don't make me do it. But I think people have really, during that time period, one of the benefits of being home was finding that life-work balance, or being able to work from anywhere. And that's why you had people who work at Meta, who work at Google, who work at all these tech companies, who were able to travel the world or work from the road, and that was what they liked most. And now all these return to the office mandates are just something that would create more stress on top of an already stressful job. At the end of last year, Paramount had approximately 18,600 employees globally and about 3,500 project-based staff, while Skydance had more than 500 employees. The media giant is also looking at areas such as real estate, procurement, and workflow to find efficiencies. Efficiencies means that they want more with less, and this is not going to end well for them in the long run. In the short term, it probably looks like they're saving cash. To them, it looks like they're saving money, and they're able to get these unnecessarily paid people, as they would see it, out of the way. However, in the end, even your app still stinks. You're not going to be able to keep up with the companies that you're really going after, which is, again, Netflix, Disney, and the rest. Now, this comes from Fortune, to continue off of that, written by Sasha Rogelberg. 600 Paramount Skydance employees quit instead of returning to the office, and the reason, how much money it's costing them, is $185 million, according to filings. So with those 600 people between Los Angeles and New York offices not returning, the severance packages are $185 million. The filing cited restructuring costs, quote, associated with actions to align the business around our strategic priorities, which I assume is a way for them, if they put that down, then it looks good to shareholders that, hey, these people left, which means we don't have to let go as of many people, and it's still saving us money regardless. According to a shareholder letter released Monday ahead of the company's earnings presentation, Paramount expects to incur $1.7 billion in restructuring expenses. Now, mind you, the merger itself cost $8 billion. They're really taking, that saying of you have to spend money to make money to entirely new levels. So now it's $9 billion, 9.7, almost $10 billion for the merge, and in order to let people go, or strategic realignment. There's also been the backdoor layoffs. While some employees feel they would rather buck the trend of job hugging in favor of workplace flexibility, employers have been using the RTO push as a strategy for backdoor layoffs. And yes, it feels like these companies know that this is going to happen. Hey, let's set a return to office mandate. we know that if we have 1,000 people working out of the office, then or working hybrid from home, there's going to be a majority. There's going to be some of those people who don't want to return to office at all. So let's get ready to lose those people. Let's get ready to save some of that money. A 2024 Bamboo HR survey of more than 1,500 U.S. managers found about 25% of C-suite executives hoped for voluntary employee turnover as a result of implementing an RTO policy. I wonder if that also means, is the severance in the short term the better bet, or because regardless, for a salaried employee at these companies, you're going to have to sever people if you've given them the option of, we're going to lay you off, or we're going to lay you off now if you don't return, or we're going to lay you off in the future even if you do return. You're going to have to pay the severance regardless. I wonder what that is. That a good look for them? About 20% of human resource professionals said their RTO mandates were intentionally meant to reduce headcount. Paramount is still looking to cut an additional $1 billion. So again, that 9.7 is going to become 10.7. This is following Ellison first outlining plans to save $2 billion following the completed merger in August. The company said in its shareholder letter it will divest from some international businesses and move 1,600 employees from those networks to their respective assets. Last month, Paramount began the layoff process of about 1,000 workers. And then finally, I cannot show this one because I had to do... I had to go to my website unblocker. This comes from Hannah Miller at Bloomberg. Paramount shares gain on higher post-merger savings goal. This is from November 10th. Now, according to that same letter that I was discussing to shareholders, excuse me, Paramount Skydance plans an additional 1,600 person workforce reduction, and it's trying to save at least in that Fortune piece I read $2 billion in cost savings. That number is now $3 billion in cost savings. And thanks to that information, the shares of Paramount Skydance at that time rose 12% to $17.06. This is a lot of money. It keeps creeping higher and higher. For the third quarter, Paramount reported revenue of $6.7 billion, below analyst forecasts of $6.87 billion. Adjusted operating income before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization totaled $952 million. Now, the revenue for the parent of CBS and the Paramount Film and TV Studios is supposed to be $30 billion next year, which is slightly more than analysts' estimates of $29.8 billion. Yes, by about $200 million. The Paramount Plus streaming service added 1.4 million subscribers for a total of 79.1 million, and plans to raise prices in the U.S. early next year. At this point, it feels as though it is becoming more and more expensive to be a fan of anything. And I read that Trevor Noah said he's excited that hold on, I'm going I don't want to make light of what he said. Trevor Noah said, while progress can be a little slow in the industry, it is inevitable. I cannot see any other possibility than a creator-run economy and a creator-run world where the audience, the brand, and the creators themselves operate in beautiful verticals that aren't ever broad. Now that's a quote from a Deadline piece written by Dade Hayes. YouTube diehard Trevor Noah envisions a creator-run world where talent, brands, and audiences connect in beautiful verticals. The thing is, very smart people like Kara Swisher and Scott Galloway on their podcast Pivot, and plenty of other people have said something along those lines. The thing is, there is a point where I was even thinking about this the other day, because I also have a Substack. I don't write on the Substack, but I follow people on the Substack, and it is, and I don't pay for anything, but luckily enough, I follow them. The thing is, between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people, or people or companies or whatever that are on this Substack, at least 6 of them are paid. And then there's Patreon. Then there's other just like on website subscriptions. There's streaming subscriptions. There's music subscriptions. There comes a point where I think the audience is going to have enough. And people are just going to say, revert back to, what they like. Hey, if YouTube TV or if Hulu with Live TV or if Fubo or if Sling offers me these channels and I watch enough of these, and I watch 18 of the 60 channels that they offer, then I'm going to go to that, and I'm going to rely less on other platforms because it's getting to be too expensive. And keeping that in the same vision, Paramount Plus raising its prices but not offering more is not equal to Netflix raising its prices and being the leader, but also continuing to offer somehow more. Also, it's people create these parasocial relationships. We see it with, now more so, podcasting, but like YouTube people and TikTok people and just this quote unquote creator world. I'm bungling my words here, but making these parasocial relationships is damaging. We talk about mental health all the time. Not me, because I don't believe it, but making these relationships is just, I think, damaging to the psyche in more ways than people care to admit. When you look at it, if the person says something wrong or that you don't agree with, then you have that option to pull your money from supporting that person. Also, you don't own whatever. If I subscribe to the XYZ podcast, I don't own that whatever videos or audio is coming out. Sure, I could download all that stuff and back it up and then cancel my subscription, but I don't own it. It's not mine. I just don't think that that people who are in the creative world, who continually supply songs or podcasts or videos, let's say podcasts or videos, should rely on their audiences, especially in a time where inflation is a problem and recessions can happen. But people should not rely on other people to pay their livelihoods. There should be a balance of other companies helping foot the bill for whatever project you're putting up. This is what I'm getting. This is what I should have been saying earlier. Instead of going in it, talking in a circuitous manner, going down a road that I pretty much not even going down. I just don't like it at all. I support supporting people. That's great. But if how many people does Conan, and I'll give him this. When the pandemic happened, they still paid everybody who worked for them. I'm sure when the show ended, when his TBS show ended, and when the Tonight Show ended, They tried to pay people for as long as possible, but right now at this point in time, if you go to Team Coco's headquarters in Los Angeles, how many people do they employ full time with benefits, or at least enough to make money and make rent? I just don't like it at all. I don't want to see people on Patreon with, three employees making $70,000 a month. It's not that I'm jealous or anything. I'm not jealous. I'm not jealous. I promise you, I'm not jealous. It's just someone like Trevor Noah should not have to rely on getting money from other people. And he sees something that I don't, because he is somebody who is on YouTube, and he tours doing stand up, and prior to that he was on a Daily Show. So he's seen the machinations or deeper machinations of the industry, where he was on TV and day in and day out they had to do the same thing over and over. And I'm sure now he's feeling this freedom by being able to talk to whomever he wants to talk to on his podcast. But if it's him and 3 or 4 other people making that show, and they're making so much money, then what's the point? Also, there's got to be someone to, not just the people, not just the fans, but there's got to be someone to hold these people accountable. They have to be held accountable when they say something or do something incredibly stupid. And that would mean, if they're on television, losing the sponsors. And yes, you can lose sponsors on podcasts, but that they'd be reprimanded. If they're on television, they'd be reprimanded by the higher ups. Things would happen. Anyway, whatever. That's all I want to talk about. I don't even know how I got here from Paramount. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where there's things that, if you're watching the video, you're seeing exactly what I'm seeing. Head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where there's, you can see pretty much everything ever done. If you want to watch a video version of this show, go to youtube.com/cpluscomedy, where you can see a video version of the other podcasts. Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show, and the Constitutionals, the entertainment business news podcast. You can also watch me talk to celebrities under the interviews, which is, on youtube.com/cpluscomedy. Subscribe to those shows wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on social media at cpluscomedy on TikTok, Instagram, and Blue Sky. Follow me on those platforms at Chad Blackwhite. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.